Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a tool that's literally changing how critical work gets done in some of the toughest spots on Earth. It's called Kobo Toolbox. And, it was created to solve one really specific and really important problem.
So let me ask you this. Think about it for a second. So much of what we all do, right? It relies on being connected. But what if you just can't be? What if you're a health worker or maybe a researcher and your job takes you somewhere the internet is spotty at best or, doesn't exist at all?
Yeah, we're talking about places like humanitarian crises, conflict zones, and other really low resource settings. These are some of the most challenging environments on the entire planet. And in these places, having timely, accurate information, that can be the difference between a successful mission and a total failure. This is exactly where the old ways of doing things just completely fall apart. And that's where Kobo Toolbox comes into the picture. See, it was developed by people in the field for people in the field, specifically to handle these exact challenges. This isn't just another survey app, not by a long shot. For a lot of folks, it's basically a data lifeline. So what is it really? Well, at its heart, Kobo Toolbox is this whole suite of tools. And get this, it's free and it's open source, which is just huge. It lets you design your forms, go out and collect the data, manage it, and then turn it into useful visuals. And it's all aimed at one thing, helping to speed up positive social change. And this is their mission right here, making data collection accessible to everyone, everywhere. That's so powerful because it's so direct, isn't it? It's all about smashing those barriers, the technical ones, the financial ones, the geographical ones, so that pretty much anyone who's trying to make a difference can have the right tools to get it. Okay, so a great mission statement is one thing, but how does Kobo Toolbox actually pull it off? Well, the secret sauce is really in its design. It was engineered from the ground up for the specific, unique challenges you find out in the field. And these are really what make it a game changer. The absolute biggest one, it's built for offline use. That's the core. But it's also super intuitive and easy to use. It runs on cheap, everyday phones, and it supports hundreds of languages. It's also compatible with open source standards like ODK and XLSForm, which is kind of like the universal language for these kinds of tools. It makes everything incredibly flexible. And maybe most importantly, it's totally free for nonprofits and research. The whole workflow is just, wow, it's so efficient. You can literally design a survey and get it out to your team's devices in a matter of hours. Not days, hours. Then they go out, they collect all the data completely offline, and the second they get back to a spot with a connection, all that valuable information gets securely synced up to the server. Seriously, it's that simple. And the difference this makes, it's just night and day. Think about the old way, right? Piles and piles of paper forms, someone has to manually type all that in. It was slow, expensive, and just filled with errors. Kobo Toolbox just throws all that out the window. It replaces it with a digital, offline-first system that's way faster, way cheaper, and so much more accurate. Okay, so you've collected all this great data, and you did it efficiently. That's fantastic. But honestly, that's only half the battle. The real goal, the whole point, is to turn those raw numbers into something that creates actual, real-world impact. And what this does is it creates this amazing, powerful feedback loop. It all starts with timely and accurate data, right? That leads you to getting insights way faster. Those insights then let you make much better, more informed decisions. And with those decisions, you can go back and optimize your programs to make them even more effective. See how it all connects? And the real key here is speed. Because the data can be analyzed almost instantly, the people making decisions aren't stuck waiting around for weeks to get a report. They can see what's happening on the ground in near real time, which lets them adapt and respond so much faster. It's a total game changer. And for bigger organizations, don't worry, Kobo Toolbox is absolutely ready to scale up. It's got advanced security features like single sign-on or SSO to make team access easy and safe. It's GDPR compliant, which is critical for meeting global data privacy rules. And it gives you flexible options for where your data is hosted. It's really built for professional, large-scale use. So by this point, you might be thinking, okay, this all sounds amazing, but what's the catch? What's this going to cost me? Well, the good news is
Kobo Toolbox is built from the ground up to be accessible for everyone, from a single student researcher all the way up to a massive global NGO. That's right, $0. The core Kobo Toolbox platform is free, forever, for nonprofits, for aid workers, for researchers. And this isn't some 30-day trial, this is a core part of their mission, their commitment to making these tools available to people who need them most. And look, the free community plan is incredibly generous. You get unlimited projects, unlimited forms, unlimited collaborators on your team, plus you can get up to 5,000 survey submissions every single month. For a huge number of organizations out there, this is honestly all they will ever need. But of course, as projects get bigger, your needs can change. So there are paid plans available for those who need to handle, tens of thousands of submissions a month, or if you need unlimited storage for photos and videos, or if you want that direct one-on-one professional support. The whole platform is really designed to scale right alongside your impact. And when you boil it all down, this is what it's all about. This isn't just about cool technology for the sake of technology. It's a purpose-built tool designed to deliver the actionable insights that help organizations do more good in the world, period. So we'll end on this thought. The tool is here. It's powerful. It's accessible. It takes away so many of the old excuses and barriers. So really— All right, let's talk about one of the biggest hurdles in any kind of research or humanitarian work, getting your hands on clean, reliable data. If you've got a question that needs an answer or a community that needs support, everything, and I mean everything, starts with having the right tool for the job. So let's get you set up for your very first data quest. And look, this isn't just about learning some new software. This is about finding answers that can actually make a difference out there. Your mission, your quest, well, it starts right now. Every great quest needs a reliable tool, something you can count on. And for thousands of organizations all over the world, that tool is Kobo Toolbox. Think about it. Whether you're trying to track public health trends, figure out what people need after a disaster, or you're just out in the field doing research, it all comes down to this one thing. Because at the end of the day, the quality of your data, that's what's going to shape your decisions and your impact. And this is exactly where Kobo Toolbox shines. It's not some generic, one-size-fits-all program. It was built from the ground up for the specific challenges you face in the field. It's kind of like your digital Swiss Army knife. It helps you build the forms, get the info, and then actually make sense of it all. So, first things first, we've got to get you your free account. Think of this as getting the keys to your new base of operations. It's super simple, and we're going to walk through it right now. Now, here's a really important first step. Kobo Toolbox actually has a couple of different servers. For what you're likely doing, humanitarian work, research, or even personal projects, you want this one. So go ahead and open up your browser and type in kf.kobotoolbox.org. Once you land on that page, the process is pretty straightforward. You'll see the button to create an account, you'll fill in your username, email, and all that, accept the terms, and hit submit. But that last step, that's the one that happens in your inbox, and it's the most important one. Okay, listen up, because this is the number one thing that trips people up. You're gonna get an email with a verification link. You have to click that link to activate your account. If you forget and try to log in, it's just not gonna work. So pause for a sec, head to your inbox, find that email, and click the link. And you're in. Once you've verified that email and you log in for the first time, you're gonna land right here. Welcome to Mission Control. Seriously, this dashboard is the command center for every single project you're gonna run. Let's do a super quick tour of your control panel. Projects is pretty obvious. That's where all your surveys will live. Data and reports are where you'll go to see what you found. But hey, pro tip, pay attention to the library. It's a huge time saver that lets you keep questions used all the time so you can just drop them into new projects. Okay, so you're inside Mission Control. And yeah, there are a lot of buttons and tabs, but don't get overwhelmed. Right now, we're gonna ignore almost all of them and just focus on the 2 buttons you absolutely need to know to get your first mission off the ground. You've got this great idea, a question that really needs an answer. You're staring at the dashboard. Where do you even begin? You start right here, that big blue plus new project button. That's your front door. You click that and it takes you right into the form builder where you can start adding your questions and designing your survey. Easy as that.
Now, building the form is just one part of it, right? You can have the most perfect survey in the world, but it's not doing any good just sitting in your account. So how do you actually get it out there so people can start filling it out?
And that is the job of the deploy button. This is your launch sequence. This is what makes your form go live, generates the links you need to share, and officially kicks off your data collection. It's the difference between having a draft and having a real active project.
And just like that, you've got it. You know your way around mission control, and you know the essential commands to build a project and then launch it. So let's do one final check of your mission briefing. Let's lock this in. Remember, first you gotta verify that email to get in. Your dashboard is mission control. All your surveys are gonna live under projects. To start a new one, you hit plus new project. And when it's ready for the world, you hit deploy. That's the whole cycle from start to launch. So look, your account is set up. Your tools are right there, waiting for you. The only thing missing now is your idea. The quest is officially yours to command. So the real question is, what important story? Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're gonna dive deep into Kobo Toolbox. You know, if you've ever tried to collect data for a project, you know the truth. The quality of your data isn't just about the questions you ask. It's all about how you ask them. So we're gonna explore the different tools that let you turn a simple question into really powerful, actionable data. And that right there is the big question, isn't it? It's not just about what you're asking, but how. Choosing the right question type can honestly be the difference between getting a kind of vague, fuzzy response and getting sharp, crystal clear data you can actually use. Let's break down how it all works. So here's the plan. Think of this as our roadmap. We're going to start with the absolute essentials, then we'll move on to capturing richer, more dynamic information. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, making our forms work smarter for us. And finally, we'll cover how to really measure what people think and what they prioritize. We're basically putting together the ultimate survey toolkit for you, piece by piece.
All right, first things first, the essentials.
You can think of these as the hammer and nails in your survey toolkit.
They're the fundamental question types that you're going to use to build the backbone of pretty much every survey you create.
Okay, so these are your basic go-tos. You've got text for any kind of open answer, like a name. You've got number for whole numbers, integers, like how many, and then you've got decimal for when you need those fractions, like for weight or height. The real key here is picking the right one from the get-go, because that's what keeps your data clean and easy to analyze later. Now, this is a really big one. This choice is super strategic. With Select One, you're forcing the person to pick a single, definitive category. It's clean. But Select Many is what you use when you need to understand a combination of things, you know? Like all the different health services someone might be using. So one gives you a single answer, the other reveals a whole pattern. All right, now that we've got the basics down, let's get into the really cool stuff. Capturing richer, more contextual data. This is where your survey stops feeling like just a list of questions and starts feeling like a real window into what's happening on the ground. So when you're tracking events, you need to be precise, right? Well, you can grab just the date or just the time, or you can combine them for a specific timestamp. The choice is pretty simple. It all just depends on how specific, how granular you need that timeline to be. This is where your data gets a superpower. You can add all these layers of verifiable proof. You can capture a GPS point to map out exactly where something is. You can snap a photo for visual confirmation. You can record audio to get direct quotes and verbal feedback, or even capture a video to document something in motion. All of a sudden, you don't just have data, you have evidence. And it doesn't even stop there. For really specific projects, the toolkit just keeps on giving. You can set it up to scan a barcode, perfect for tracking products or inventory, or you can let users upload entire files, like a PDF report or a scanned document. It's all about making sure the form can handle whatever kind of data you need to throw at it. Okay, now for the really clever part. These next tools, they're not always for collecting answers from people. Instead, they work behind the scenes, adding logic and guidance that make your form way smarter and easier for everyone to use. The note question type looks simple, but it's incredibly powerful. See, it doesn't actually collect any data. It just gives context. You should think of it as your own voice, right there inside the form, giving instructions or explaining what's coming up next. It's all about guiding the user. And the perfect partner for a note is the acknowledge question. It's just a simple, mandatory checkbox. You use this to get consent or to make sure someone has actually read the instructions you just gave them. It's that required, yep, I got it, I understand button.
Oh man, this is a total game changer. Calculate is one of the most powerful tools in the whole box. It does the math for you, right inside the form. So you could ask for a date of birth and it will instantly calculate that person's age. This just wipes out human error and saves you hours of work during data analysis. It's basically magic. And speaking of behind-the-scenes magic, you've got hidden questions that can store stuff like a device ID without the user ever seeing it. You can even use external files to load in enormous lists of choices, which keeps your main form super clean and fast. It's all about making things efficient. All right, for our last section, let's talk about how to capture all that subjective stuff, feelings, opinions, priorities, and turn it into structured data that we can actually analyze. This is so important for any kind of feedback survey. You've got 3 really distinct tools here. Range and rating are awesome for measuring the intensity of an opinion, like how satisfied someone is on a scale. But ranking is different. It forces a person to make a trade-off. It shows you not just what they like, but what they value the most when they can't have it all. It's a true measure of priority. So what do you do when you have a whole bunch of questions that all use the exact same rating scale? Well, the question matrix is the perfect tool for that. It groups all those related items into one compact little table. This makes the survey way faster for the user to fill out, and it makes the data you get back incredibly easy to compare. It's a lifesaver. So there you have it. From a simple text field all the way to automated calculations and these complex matrices, you now have a whole spectrum of tools at your fingertips. The challenge isn't really if you can collect the data you need anymore. Now it's about choosing the most effective tool for the job. Your fully equipped build surveys that aren't just functional, but are genuinely insightful.
All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a way to build incredibly powerful and complex digital surveys. But not with some fancy, expensive software. No, we're going to do it with a tool you probably have open on your computer right now, a simple spreadsheet.
You've been there, right? You have this perfect, detailed survey all planned out in your head. But the drag and drop tool you're using, it just can't keep up. You hit a wall, it feels like you're trying to build a skyscraper with toy blocks. It is so frustrating. And you know the deal with most of these builders. The advanced features you really need are either missing or behind a paywall. Trying to collaborate with your team is a mess. They're often super slow on bad internet connections. And if the builder just doesn't support a specific feature you need, well, too bad. You're stuck. There has to be a better way. And there is.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll introduce the spreadsheet-based solution. Then we'll get into the anatomy of how it works. After that, we'll actually build our first form together. Then we'll unlock some really cool advanced features. And finally, we'll see how this all comes together to become your new data collection superpower.
All right, let's get right to it. The solution we're talking about is a standard, and it's called XLSForm.
So what exactly is XLSForm? Well, you can think of it as a special language or a set of rules for creating surveys inside of Excel or Google Sheets. And the beautiful thing about it is that it's super easy to get started. It's human readable, but it is powerful enough to handle really complex stuff, like skip logic and calculations that would make most online form builders just crash.
Okay, that sounds cool, but how does it actually work? Let's take a look under the hood at the basic anatomy of an XLS form. And trust me, it's a lot simpler than you might think.
At its very heart, a basic XLS form only needs just two core worksheets in your spreadsheet file. The best way to think about it is like a recipe. You need your instructions and you need your ingredients. Let's see what those look like. Your first sheet, which you have to name survey, all lowercase, that's your instructions. This is where you list out every single question and map out the entire flow of your form. Your second sheet, named choices, well, that's your ingredients list. This is where you put all the possible answers for any multiple choice questions you have. Okay, let's zoom in on that survey sheet, the instructions. There are 3 columns you absolutely have to have: First is type. This tells the form what kind of question it is. Is it a text question, a number, maybe even a GPS location? Second is name. This is the unique, behind-the-scenes variable name for your data. Super important. No spaces allowed. And third, you have label. That's the actual human-friendly question that your user is going to see.
Now, for our ingredients on the choices sheet. It also has 3 mandatory columns. The first one, list name, is the magic glue. It groups your answers together under one name, like yes_no options, or country list. Then you have name, which is the unique data value for each choice. And finally, label, which is the actual text the person sees and taps on, like yes, no, or Canada.
Now, here is a really important heads up. This system is incredibly powerful, but it demands that you be precise. Like this quote says, you have to name your worksheets exactly survey and choices, all lowercase. If you mess it up, even with a capital letter, the whole thing just won't work. Precision is everything here.
All right, enough theory. That's great, but let's actually get our hands dirty and build a really simple form, step by step. You're going to see just how fast this all comes together.
So we're starting in our survey sheet. For our first question, the type is just text. Easy enough. We give it a unique name. Let's call it your name. And for the label, we write the actual question. What is your name? And that's it. One row in a spreadsheet is now one question in our form.
Okay, next row. Let's add a multiple choice question. The type here is select one sex. Now let's break that down. Select one tells the form, hey, the user can only pick one answer from this list. And sex? That is the list name for the answers we're about to create. We'll give the question its own name, baby sex. And a label? What is your baby's sex?
Now we have to define that sex list, right? So we just pop over to our choices sheet. In the list name column, we put sex for both options. Then for each one, we give it a unique name and a user-friendly label. Male and male, female and female. See how that works? That shared list name is what connects the question on one sheet to the answers on the other.
Okay, you've got the basics down. That's awesome. But honestly, we have only scratched the surface. The real power, the reason you'd use this over a simple builder, is in the advanced features. Let's take a look.
And just look at this. You can do so much more than just text and multiple choice. You can capture numbers, exact GPS coordinates. You can even have people draw lines or shapes on a map. You can collect images, video, audio clips, scan barcodes, create ranking questions, perform calculations right in the form. It just keeps going. This is where XLSForm truly shines.
You might be thinking, okay, GPS coordinates, that sounds complicated. It's not, I promise. Look how easy this is. To get a store's location, you first ask for its name with a simple text question. Then, for the next question, you just add a new row and make the type GeoPoint. That's literally it. The app you use will automatically know to open a map and grab the GPS data. It's incredibly powerful, but feels so simple to implement.
So you've done it. You've built this elegant, powerful form all within a spreadsheet. What happens next? How does this file in your computer turn into a real tool that people can use out in the field?
The whole workflow is a really simple 3-step process. First, you build the form in Excel or Sheets, just like we did. Second, you upload that one single file to a data collection platform that understands XLSForm, something like KoboToolbox. The platform instantly reads your spreadsheet and turns it into a web or mobile form. And third, you deploy it. You send it out to your team's phones or tablets, and they can start collecting data anywhere in the world.